Hello, more so come Tinks Invest, where we talk about investing, finance, and professional development. That's a recording time of 11:05 a.m. on the Eastern Time. Ethereum coin trading $3,145, now about 7.65% so far. On the over crypto market and the equity market, we have saw a slight peak after the job report came out earlier today. It was not a complete miss, but it was a relatively more of a lukewarm, mediocre type of report. But definitely not as worse in comparisons to Wall Street expectations. So I would say, despite not a good report, it's still I guess net a positive one. If you just like compare that relatively speaking, but obviously still not good, right? It's like comparing two students that have one have a C plus and one have a C minus, but the whole class has like a C plus. So I guess you could say that that student has a C plus, and is a passable type of relative scale, if you may. So that's a similar affectation. And just on a high level synopsis, no need to really read through the report. I just give you the high level synopsis on the key metrics. So it seems like the non-farm payroll has risen by 199,000 in December, which is far fewer than the 422,000 estimates that Wall Street has given to them. So it seems like there is a lack of supply in the circulations of the job market. And also, with respect to the unemployment rate, it's also dropped simultaneously as well, but not in that same severity. It's dropped by about 4%, 3.9 to be exact, which is better than the estimates of 4.1% that the Wall Street has estimated for them. The wages has increased more than expected, which makes sense, right? People have to pay for a higher wage because there's a lack of supply in the circulation. People want to, I guess, work in a gig economy. People just want to work for themselves as a self-employee rather than working for someone. And we're seeing the biggest turnovers among obviously the leisure and the hospitality and obviously the medical and the airline industry, which are, getting hit the worst, right? So collectively, we know it's not an ideal report, but it's not crazy terrible. Again, right, like more of like a C plus, B minus student that we see from this report. So let's just dive into the technicals. Right now, it's a recording of again 11:08 a.m. on the Eastern Time. We are at 3,150, and this is the comfort level that we keep testing, right? Based on the technicals, you could see clearly as the job report came out earlier today, we had like a reversal. We try to go up to the 3,325. But seems like among the equity side, people are still having that uncertainty, right? Because there's still a lot of macro affectation with respect to Omicron. They're spiking, and also people are fleeing to more of the ETFs like dividend stocks. And seems like there are still a lot of uncertainties around crypto, knowing the fact that with the Kazakhstan recent macro affectation that's driving some stir into the market, leading by obviously the direct correlations onto creating some headwind to Bitcoin, which Bitcoin is dragging the market down as well with it. As you know, this has the most influential power onto the whole crypto market. So let's just dive into technicals without wasting any more time. With respect to the current level of Ethereum is the 2763, so extreme oversold. Remember the frame of reference 35, right? So we basically way submerged underwater right now, and this is probably the worst drop we have ever seen historically. The last really terrible drop that we have seen was back in basically in 2000 March of 2000. And this was mainly due to, if you recap, the Omicron. No, not the Omicron, the COVID breakout for the first time, right? The COVID-19 breakout for the first time. And we're seeing something comparable because that was one, obviously, huge black sheep event. But this is another, I would say, 4 collective black swan events. That was the black sheep. This is a black swan, right? And I will say this is a triangulation with 4 different things, like I mentioned already, that we've counted for us. So right now it's just people freaking out, right? And right now at the submerged level, people are panicking and frankly just losing confidence in the market. So if you are thinking logically, would you be selling now? I've been getting these questions from my comment section. So are you selling now? Are you holding? I'm absolutely buying. I'm absolutely holding. This is not the logical time for you to sell Knowing the fact that with respect to the risk level in comparisons to when we're reaching super all-time high at the 4,871, people were saying like, oh, you got to keep leaping up to 5,000, which was a possibility, but we couldn't get there, right? But people were saying like, oh, it's gonna keep going, it's gonna keep going, it's gonna keep going. But we understood that at the time, the RSI was already overbought, right? And I was saying that we, as the RSI and the technicals never lies, it's gonna come back down eventually, right? And we were kind of hovering, and then we had that cup and handle that we were trying to form, but it couldn't sustain, right? And eventually we had that downward wedge that we've been forming, right? And a downward wedge is basically another form of monetary circulation shifting from people that are short-term investors to long-term investor. And right now we are basically shaking out the weak ones, right, across the market to allow for the ones that are truly long-term investors to be buying in, right? So right now I'm one of those long-term investors, and I've been using logics and stuff, emotions to be buying in. The next level that we will potentially get down to will be somewhere around right here, right? The 2828 level exactly. So let me just shift that to make sure that we're more teed up. 2850, right? But we're gonna test somewhere around like the 3,000, but we know 3,000 is not a real level. That's just more of a flat number. But I really don't see like these level coming, to be honest. We're very oversold right now. So taking a logical perspective, I'm gonna be buying, and I will keep buying. And this has always proven to be the truth on a technical front, and I don't foresee any further sell-off, especially not going to like the low 2000s. That's not even possible in a technical perspective in the near term. Bitcoin right now is like basically doing the same comparable fashion. The next level is ideally going to the 40. But we know 40 is not really a real level, right? The real level is somewhere around like just a hair below, like the 39735 based on the historical technicals. Right now with the 28 out of 70, so very oversold right now. So in terms of Bitcoin and currents, I think maybe taking some risks is not a bad idea. But ultimately, we know that we're in a steel level now, so incur a little more aggressively would make sense in comparisons to before, right? In respect to Dogecoin with the 1517 right now, anywhere from below, I would say we're very oversold with 32 out of 70, so still a good level to incur risk right now with the steel level. Cardano is at 120, exactly the level that I identify, 32 out of 70, so still a good level. Solana is coming true with respect to 130, which is exactly the level we talked about. If you recap on all the historical levels that we talked about, 155, 133, so it came true. So right now with the 133 with the 28 out of 70, so very oversold right now. XRP is down about 2.17%, 75 cents, perfect level to incur risk at 35 out of 70. 69 will be even better. But do we see that coming? I don't know, right? Because that would be really drilling oil all over again. Polkadot is down about 5%. We are basically at the bottom always as well. Again, right, from current level to 2325 would be the bottoms. ALGORAND is down about 10% right now with the 141. Whatever goes up really, really fast comes down just as fast, and we are doing exactly that. We have a def cross right now, so anywhere from 136 to below. Shiba Inu is at the strike zone right now. We are within our strike zone below 2950. So we are at the 34 out of 70. So anywhere from current level to all the way to 900 is still good frame to incur risk at. MACTA is down about close to 8% so far, 175 to 143 from here. AVAX is down about 9%, 80 to 60 is still better level for us. Luna is down about close to 12% right now. It's one of those altcoins that are a little bit more volatile than others with the 39 out of 70. So anywhere from 62, which is coming, this is just technical speaking the truth, 52 to 45 from here. And with respect to Enron, we are at the 196. We're crazy oversold right now. Let's see how much we are. We are basically 28 out of 70, so very oversold. We are way below the ground level right now. So, Enron is one of those, like, if you believe in the long term, this is definitely a good level to start being more aggressive in comparison to days before. In respect to risk management, these are the level that I identify here, and you can see clearly we are within a lot of the strike zones that we've identified so far, and we are especially on the steel level for the respective coins, right? So let me know if you have any specific questions. It's definitely stomach wrenching, But it's important for us to stay within the frame of reference of quantitative analysis, the technicals. You know, the macro is important, but the macros are most of the time just another way of influencing people's emotions, which the majority of investors are typically trading or investing based on emotions or pump or euphoria. So for those actually understands the fundamentals, would be capturing this nicely. So hopefully this is helpful. Let's stay within the logical methodology that we've been talking about on a daily basis now, and not make any emotional decisions. Okay, take care. Bye.